Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita mulakan kelas kita pada pagi ini dengan membaca ummul kitab Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Arrahmanirrahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajmain. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, ampunkanlah dosa-dosa kami, ampunkanlah dosa kedua ibu bapa kami dan kasihilah mereka sebagaimana mereka mengasihi kami di masa kecil. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, kurniakanlah kepada kami ilmu yang bermanfaat untuk diri kami, keluarga kami, agama kami, bangsa kami dan negara kami. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, berilah kepada kami kejayaan di dunia dan di akhirat. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, jadikanlah kami orang-orang yang bersyukur. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Walhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Alhamdulillah, kita bersyukur pada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Pada hari ini kita dapat meneruskan kelas kita untuk minggu yang ke-9. Dan pada hari ini kita akan belajar satu tajuk baru, iaitu increase in shareholding. Okey. Tajuk baru kita adalah increase in shareholding. Jadi saya akan sharekan di sini tajuk tersebut. Okey, saya harap awak nampak apa yang saya tayangkan di sini. So this is basically our new subtopic, increase in shareholding. If you have the book, you can refer to chapter 16. Okay, so as an introduction to this subtopic, investor may acquire its shareholding in an entity in stages over a period of time. Sometimes control obtained after a few acquisitions. Or investor already has control and acquires more interest in the acquiring. Acquiring interest in an investee in stages is referred to piecemeal or step acquisition. So actually, it's not that easy to acquire a control in another company. Okay, sometimes it takes more than one event. Maybe the first acquisition result in a simple investment. Then second acquisition result in acquisition of an associate. Only in the third or fourth acquisition, the investee become the subsidiary. So that is known as a piecemeal or step acquisition. Piecemeal acquisition process could be part of the strategic plan of the investor. So what is actually piecemeal acquisition? Piecemeal acquisition, is whereby investor acquires control through a process more than one acquisition. So this one is known as acquisition resulting in business combination, or in short, it is a gradual acquisition. Okay, and then the second acquisition is increase in the controlling interest. The investor already control the subsidiary. The investor already control the investee, but the investor intend to increase the percentage of control. Maybe from 60% to 70%, or to 80% to 90%, or up to 100%. Investor has control over the acquiree and subsequently acquires more shares in the acquiree. So this is also maybe part of the strategic plan of the group. Okay, and the third one is deemed acquisition. Okay, what is deemed acquisition? There is no acquisition actually. Investors' interest in an entity increases without it buying further shares in it. It could be because of the investee buy back the shares from other parties. Yeah, buy back the shares from non-controlling interest. So because of the investee buy back the shares from the non-controlling interest, the percentage of controlling interest increase subsequently without any further acquisition. So that is deemed acquisition. Next, there are a few consolidation issues in piecemeal acquisition, and we are going to discuss, okay, in brief, the implication in piecemeal acquisition. The first implication is the change in relationship. Yeah, the change in relationship between the investor and investee. Okay, in a simple investment, basically there is no relationship between the parent and subsidiary in terms of relationship between parent and subsidiary or relationship between investor and associate. Okay, when the investee become associate, then there is a relationship between investor and the associate. And when it becomes a subsidiary, the relationship also change, yeah, from the investor becoming the holding and the investee become the subsidiary. Okay, so the first issue here is the change in relationship between investor and investee, and this relationship will have impact on the consolidated financial statement, because simple investment will not be consolidated, associate will not be consolidated, but subsidiary will be consolidated. Okay, secondly is computation of goodwill and the accounting treatment of goodwill. Okay, the issue 2.1 is computation of goodwill. When we are going to compute the goodwill? Is it on the date of acquisition of a simple investment, or on the date of acquisition of an associate, or on the date of acquisition of a subsidiary, or subsequent acquisition to increase the percentage? That is the issue when we are going to compute. And then secondly, what is the accounting treatment of the goodwill? How are we going to treat the goodwill? And the third one is the accounting treatment for the investment in financial statement of the investor. Okay, we are going to discuss this one by one. Okay, let's look at this relationship between the investor and the investee. Okay, first, for example, this is under gradual acquisition. First acquisition is on 1st January X1, whereby Ash already holds certain percent. That is 10% of interest in investee. 10% only. So by having 10%, you cannot interfere. Yeah, you cannot interfere the management of the investee, because you are only having 10%. You are not having a significant influence. Yeah, and you are not having the control, of course, because you have only 10% interest. So here, okay, we regard this investment as investment. Yeah, you regard this investment as simple investment. Secondly, second acquisition on 1st January X4. Okay, on 1st January X4, you acquire further. You increase your interest by 15%. So from then 10% to now 25%. So you have increased your interest in that investee by 15%, from 10% becoming 25%. So if you invest in more than 20%, yeah, more than 20% in ordinary shares of an investee, that investee become the associate. Yeah, that investee become an associate. So in an associate, you have a significant influence. Significant influence is not the control. Significant influence, it means you can influence the decision, but you are not the one who make the decision. Okay, and then the third acquisition on 1st January X7, you increase further by 45%, from 25 to 70%. from 25 to 70%. Now, the investee become a subsidiary. Okay, the investee become a subsidiary. So you are going to trade differently. Okay, in the second acquisition, you are going to trade. You are going to use the equity accounting or equity method. In the third acquisition, you are going to use acquisition method because the acquiree or the investee becoming a subsidiary. The parent will prepare the financial statement, that is the consolidated financial statement from the date of business combination. So in this situation, when is the date of business combination? Of course, the date of business combination is on 1st January X7 when the parent acquires more than 50% of shares in subsidiary. Okay, now we discuss the issue of computation of goodwill. Goodwill is calculated when the acquisition takes place. Yeah, when the acquisition of interest in investee result in a business combination. If the parent acquire additional shares in the subsidiary, no adjustment on previous goodwill. Let's say you have acquired more than 50%. Okay, if we go back to the fact that was given earlier from here, during the second acquisition, it is an associate. Of course, you can calculate the goodwill during this time, but the calculation of goodwill during this time is not compulsory. Okay, so when you are compulsory to calculate the goodwill, it is on 1st January X7. Okay, 1st January X7 when you acquire the control over the subsidiary. And then if a parent acquires additional shares in a subsidiary, do you need to recalculate the goodwill? The answer is no. Calculation of goodwill because of business combination is only once. That is when you start controlling the subsidiary. So no adjustment on previous goodwill. There is no adjustment of previous goodwill. And then increase in controlling interest is treated as a transaction between the equity owners. That is between the parent and the non-controlling interest shareholders. So it does not involve calculation of goodwill. It is merely a transfer of interest ataupun a transfer of net asset between the non-controlling interest and the parent. Okay, so later we are going to show on how to calculate this transfer of interest. Okay, and then the next issue is carrying amount of the investment. The carrying amount of the investment could be at cost. This is based on MFRS 127, separate financial statement, and MFRS 128, investment in associate and joint ventures. Or it could be in fair value. Okay, in fair value, this is based on MFRS 139, financial instrument recognition and measurement. Okay. If we are using the fair value under MFRS 139, any changes in the fair value of investment will go straight to the statement of profit or loss. Yeah, it goes straight to statement of profit or loss. And the changes go to other comprehensive income also, that is equity, and then to profit or loss when there is a disposal. Acquisition resulting in business combination. Okay, we discussed further gradual acquisition. Subsidiary will be consolidated into consolidated financial statement from the date of the business combination. That means in the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, the result of the performance will be consolidated from the date of business combination only, and all items including revenue, cost, other income, expenses, taxation will be disclosed on the time apportionment basis. Let's say the subsidiary becomes subsidiary on 1st April and the year end is 31st December. Yeah, the investee becomes subsidiary on 1st April and the year end is 31st December. So what we are going to do? We are going to start consolidating the items in the statement of profit or loss of the subsidiary from 1st April, not from 1st January. Because it is on a time apportion basis. Time apportion basis. So the revenue will be multiplied by 9/12. The cost will be multiplied by with 9/12. The expenses also and the taxation also will be multiplied by 9/12 because time apportion. This is under consolidated statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. And the calculation of NCI, the calculation of non-controlling interest will be based on the interest held throughout the reporting period. Okay, so let's say the first acquisition result in a control and the percentage of non-controlling interest is 40% for the first 3 months. Okay, and then in April this year, in that particular year, the company acquire further 20%. So the non-controlling interest reduced by 20%, right? By decreasing the non-controlling interest from 40% to 20%. Now, the portion of revenue, cost, expenses, and taxation of the subsidiary will be multiplied by how many percent? Will be multiplied by 20%. Yeah. So kita cuma ambil net profit lah ya. Net profit dia kita akan multiply dengan 20% instead of 40%. So for the first 3 months it is 40%, and for the next 9 months it will be calculated based on 20%. So NCI in the consolidated statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income can change. Yeah, can change because it is based on time. However, for the consolidated statement of financial position, the non-controlling interest is basically calculated based on the percentage of non-controlling interest at the end of the year. So if at the beginning of the year the non-controlling interest is 40%, and at the end of the year the non-controlling interest is 20%, we are going to take the 20%. Because NCI in the statement of financial position will be calculated using the percentage at the end of the year. It is different. In statement of profit or loss, it will be time apportion. In the statement of financial position, it will be based on percentage at the end of the year. Okay, this one is gradual acquisition and how are we going to recognize the goodwill. So to calculate the goodwill for gradual acquisition, okay, so it is a bit different from the normal calculation of goodwill. Okay, a bit different, not 100% different, a bit different. Okay, we can see from here, the calculation of goodwill is based on, okay, consideration transferred of the second acquisition. Yeah, consideration transferred of the second acquisition. Okay, plus consideration transferred for previous acquisition, the first acquisition. But for the first acquisition, we are not going to take the cost. We are going to take the fair value of previous acquisition on second acquisition. Yeah, kita akan ambil fair value of previous acquisition, but using the fair value, not using the original consideration transfer. Okay, so if let's say the consideration transferred for the second acquisition is 20% and the first acquisition is 40%, so now we have 60% interest. Yeah, 60% interest. So consideration for the second interest is based on the actual consideration transferred. However, for the first acquisition, we are going to take the fair value on the date of second acquisition. Okay, and we are going to add that amount with non-controlling interest. However, before we can calculate the non-controlling interest, Normally, we need to calculate the fair value of net asset first. To calculate the fair value of net asset, if we are using the partial goodwill, so we are going to calculate the non-controlling interest based on fair value of net asset. If we are going to use, if the policy of the company is to use the fair value of non-controlling interest, then straight away we can put the non-controlling interest here. So after we compute the total amount of fair value of investment here, and we compare the fair value of net asset here, okay, we are going to get a goodwill or bargain purchase. Okay, a goodwill or bargain purchase. The previously acquired interest is measured at fair value and assumed virtually sold and repurchased at the fair value on the date of business combination. So this is the assumption. This is the assumption. Okay, for example, we have acquired 20%. In the first acquisition, we acquired 20%. And then we acquire further 40%. That lead to 60% interest. What we are going to do, we assume that the 20% is virtually sold. The 20% is virtually sold and repurchase. So repurchase is referring to 20 plus 40, that is 60%. At fair value on the date of business combination. Okay. And then the second acquisition. The second acquisition, because of our assumption that the first acquisition has been sold, so whenever there is a sale, we have to calculate the gain or loss from the sale. You have to calculate the gain or loss from the sale. So in the investor's book, investors is the parent, right? In the investor's book, we need to compare the proceed from previous acquisition with the carrying amount of the investment. Okay, so by comparing, we are going to get a gain or loss on disposal, on deemed disposal. Okay, this is for the investors book, and this one is for the group book. Okay, for the group book, we need to put here the proceeds from previous acquisition. Sebenarnya tak ada jual pun, deemed disposal kan tadi. So proceeds from previous acquisition using the fair value on the date of second acquisition, and then we are going to compare with the carrying amount of the investment. So carrying amount of the investment, if the investment is investment in associate, then carrying amount will be what? Will be cost of the investment in associate plus share of profit and other reserve. Share of profit and other reserve. So kita akan dapatlah dekat situ dia punya carrying amount, and then after that we can compare the proceeds from acquisition and the carrying amount. We are going to get a gain or loss. Okay, a gain or loss. Next, increase in the controlling interest. When investor with controlling interest in the investee acquires additional shares, what happened to that relationship? The investor interest will increase and the non-controlling interest will reduce. According to MFRS 3, it treats the increase in controlling interest as a transaction between the equity owners. Any excess payment made to obtain from the non-controlling interest in their share of the net asset of on the date that the additional interest is acquired is taken to equity. Okay, any excess of payment made to obtain from the non-controlling interest. Okay, so just now we understand that increase in shareholding or increase in control is actually a transaction between the parent and the non-controlling interest. It is a transfer of net asset, net asset of the subsidiary from the non-controlling interest to the parent. So the transaction will be shown in the equity. The transaction will be shown in the equity. any excess payment made. So any excess payment made is regarded as what? Any excess payment made is regarded as a loss. If you pay more than what you get, it is a loss. It will be taken to equity. Okay, tak apa, nanti kita akan tunjukkan. Increase in the control interest. Okay. You have become a subsidiary by having 70% interest in S. Okay. So S is 70%, NCI is 30%. And then you acquire further on 1st April the same year, you increase by 10%. So now the interest of H is 80%, increased by 10%, and the interest of non-controlling interest is 20%, that is reduced by 10%. So basically this is a transfer between the non-controlling interest and the parent. Okay, we can see in the form of timeline here. Okay, you can see in the form of timeline here in the year 2000 X5, whereby on 1st January X5, the percentage of interest is 70%, and it increased by 10% on 1st April X5 in the same year, and at the end of the year, it is 20% non-controlling interest. Okay, what is the problem here? The problem is how to divide the profit between the first period and second period, because the profit for the year is 120,000. Yeah, the profit for the year is 120,000. So we understand that for the first 3 months, the non-controlling interest is 30%. For the next 9 months, the non-controlling interest is only 20%. So how are we going to allocate the profit to the first 3 months and to the next 9 months? In the consolidated statement of financial position, as at 31st December X5, the non-controlling interest is 20%. Yeah, we do not use the time apportionment. However, for the consolidated statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income for the year ended 31st December X5, the profit for the year attributable to non-controlling interest must be proportionate on a time basis. That is 30% times 3/12 times 120% for the first 3 months, and 20% times 9/12 times 120% for the next 9 months. Okay. How to calculate, how to compute the goodwill when there is an increase in the controlling interest? Yeah. How are we going to recognize and measure the goodwill? Okay. If there are two acquisition, and the first acquisition you have become a parent. So kat sini ada 2 acquisition. The first acquisition you have already a parent. Second acquisition you are still a parent, so you don't have to calculate the goodwill for the second time. You need to calculate the goodwill when you reach the 70%, because 70% is already a parent. Okay, so you do not have to calculate another goodwill when you reach the 80%. So the calculation is based on consideration transferred in the first acquisition, that is 70%. You add the non-controlling interest, and then you compare the fair value of investment with fair value of net asset on the date of acquisition, and you will get a goodwill or bargain purchase. Okay, you will get a goodwill or bargain purchase from them. Next, how are we going to calculate the gain or loss from the second acquisition? Yeah, how are we going to calculate the gain or loss from second acquisition? Since we do not calculate the goodwill for the second acquisition, we are going to calculate the gain or loss. Okay, so for the group, for the group A, we are going to compare the consideration transferred for the subsequent acquisition. Okay, in this case, it is 10%. Consideration transferred of 10%, the second acquisition, and we are going to compare with the fair value of net asset of subsidiary on the date of a second acquisition times 10%. So we compare the consideration transferred for 10% and fair value of net asset of the 10%. And by comparing the consideration transferred and fair value of net asset, we are not going to get the goodwill or bargain purchase. Instead, we are going to get a gain or loss on subsequent acquisition. Okay, gain or loss on subsequent acquisition. And okay, what is important here is, okay, the figure here, the fair value of net asset 10% here is basically a transfer of net asset from the non-controlling interest to the parent. The transfer of net asset from the non-controlling interest to the parent. So it is actually a reduction in non-controlling interest value. A reduction in non-controlling interest value, and it also means an increase in controlling interest value. Okay, controlling interest value. And the gain, of course, will increase the retained profit of H. And loss will reduce the retained profit of H. Okay, so that is all from the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, I will continue with the presentation from Excel. Okay, from Excel file. Okay, so this is the first example. Our first example, that is gradual acquisition from simple investment to subsidiary. Okay, from simple investment to subsidiary. Initially, it is a simple investment. So subsequently, it become a subsidiary. So there are two acquisition here. The first acquisition, it becomes a simple investment. Second acquisition, it becomes a subsidiary. Okay, so let us go through this example. If you have your book, you can refer to page 592. Example 1. If you do not have the book, you can refer to this example in the notes. In this note, okay, you can see from here, the first acquisition result in a 15% interest. H acquired 50% interest in S. Okay, so S is a simple investment. On that date of acquisition, 1st January 20S1, the consideration transferred is 30,000. The retained earning on the date of acquisition is 40,000. And on the date of second acquisition, the first acquisition value is 43,000. The fair value of investment in simple investment is 43,000 already. So there is an increase from 30,000 to 43,000. 30,000 is the consideration transferred, and 43,000 is the fair value. The fair value after how many years? X1, X2, X3, X4, X5 after 5 years. Okay, and then after 5 years you acquire 45% interest in that particular company. So starting from 1st April 20x6, the investee become a subsidiary. And for the second acquisition, you have paid 135,000. Okay, and the retained profit on that date was 110,000. Okay, let us see the total percentage now is 60%, and if the parent controls 60%, the balance of 40% is belong to the non-controlling interest. Okay, belong to the non-controlling interest. Next. Okay, what we have to bear in our mind here, what we have learned from the PowerPoint presentation just now, whenever there are two acquisition, and the second acquisition result in a business combination, we have to bear in our mind that we actually dispose the earlier investment. There is a deemed disposal there. There is a deemed disposal of the previous investment. Deemed disposal of 15%, and then repurchase of 60%. Repurchase of 60%. Sebab apa 60%? Because it is 15% plus 45%. So please bear in our mind that we dispose the earlier investment. There is no actual disposal. No actual disposal. This is only a deemed disposal. So deemed disposal of 15% and then repurchase of 60%. Actually, we do not dispose. And the second acquisition, we only purchase 45%. But for the purpose of consolidation, we have to do this. We assume that we dispose the 15% and we repurchase the 15% plus another percentage, that is 45%, that lead to a total of 60% purchase of interest. Okay, ada dua lah kat sini. Ada dua calculation. Yang pertama, the first calculation is disposal of the earlier investment, and the second one is the calculation of goodwill, because of you have control the you have control the subsidiary. Okay, let's look at this example further. Okay, we are given the statement of financial position as at 31st December 20x6, and also the statement of profit or loss of the same companies for the year ended 31st December 20x6. Okay, so what are the most important items in the statement of financial position? Here we have two companies, we have two columns. Okay, in the second company, okay, in the second company you have 100,000 ordinary share. You have retained profit brought down of 100,000 also, and you have current year profit of 40,000. That is important. And then in the column of the parent, you have important items, that is investment in S amounting to 165,000. Okay, and then we are also supplied with statement of profit or loss for the current year, 31st December, ended 31st December 2000x6. Okay, so kita ada revenue. We have revenue here of the subsidiary, 150 revenue minus expenses 190, profit before tax 60, taxation 20, and the profit after tax is 40. And this 40 will be allocated to two sub-period. Okay, we are going to allocate it to two sub-period. So it means for the particular year, for the current year, the first 3 months, S is a simple investment. For the next 9 months, it is a subsidiary. So we have to allocate the profit of the subsidiary, okay, between the 3 month and the 9 month. 3 month is pre-acquisition period and 9 month is post-acquisition period. So how are we going to divide this? We are going to multiply with the number of months. Okay. So 40,000 profit for the current year times 3/12. That is the pre-acquisition profit. Because, okay, at that time, the percentage is 15%. It is a simple investment. Starting from 1st April, the percentage is 60%. It is a subsidiary. So, in the period S become a subsidiary, the net profit for that particular period is 30,000. Okay, 30,000. Now, what we are going to do, first we need to calculate the goodwill, and second we are going to calculate the gain or loss on deemed disposal. Okay, so let us go through the calculation of goodwill. Okay, the calculation of goodwill, we put here the consideration transferred for the second acquisition. Consideration transferred for the second acquisition, we are using the actual figure that is 135,000. This 135,000 is a cost or a consideration transferred. And then we have to add the previous investment. The previous investment is 15%. The previous investment is 15%. However, we do not take the original consideration transferred because the date already changed. Okay, the date already changed. So the value has already changed from 30,000 to 43. The fair value is now 43,000. So for the purpose of calculating the goodwill, we are going to take the fair value, not the cost of the first acquisition. So now 135 plus 43. Yeah, 135 plus 43. Next, we calculate the fair value of net asset acquired. The value of net asset acquired, the share capital, the value is 100,000, and the value of retained earning is 110,000. How do we get this 110,000? The balance brought down is 100,000, and the amount of profit after tax for the first 3 months before the acquisition is 10,000. That's why the value of retained earning on 1st April 20x6 is 110,000. So 100,000 plus 110,000 equals to 210,000. From this 210,000, we calculate our non-controlling interest. 40% of it, it is 84,000. So 84,000 plus 43,000 plus 135,000, it is a fair value of investment amounting to 262,000. We compare with fair value of net asset 210,000. Therefore, we have a goodwill of 52,000 here. Okay, we have a goodwill of 52,000. Right. Okay, are you following? Especially the way to calculate the goodwill. I will stop here for a while if you have any question. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So after we calculate the goodwill, we are going to calculate the gain or loss on deemed disposal. Okay. Remember that there is no disposal. There is no disposal. But we are assuming a disposal. That's why we said it is a deemed disposal. So computation of deemed disposal of previous investment on 1st April 20x6. Since this is a simple investment, we simply compare the fair value of the previous interest and the cost of the investment. Yeah, fair value of the previously acquired interest 43,000 and the cost of investment. We simply compare 43 and 30 because this is a simple investment. So simple investment, we do not have to calculate the profit and so on. Okay, the reserve and so on. We need to show the comparison between the fair value and the cost only. So fair value is 43, the cost is 30, therefore we have a gain of 13,000. A deemed disposal gain. Kita tak jual pun. Kita tak jual pun. Jadi the accounting procedure is to show the computation of deemed disposal, even though there is no real disposal. Tak ada real disposal. Deemed disposal pun kita dapat 13,000. Okay, so just now we have a goodwill of 52,000 and we have a gain on disposal of investment of 13,000. For simple investment, we only need to compare the fair value of investment and the cost of investment. Okay, nanti bila kita masuk kepada associate ada sedikit perbezaan. Because associate kat situ ada share of profit. The next is as usual, we need to show the analysis of financial statement. Okay, before we can show our statement of profit or loss, statement of financial position, we need to show the analysis of financial statement. Okay, analysis of financial statement brought down, we have only one figure. We have only one figure, that is the retained profit brought down of H, because the acquisition only took place on 1st April 2006. It means, okay, on 1st January 2006, balance brought down, the subsidiary is not exist yet. The subsidiary is not exist yet. It exists as an associate. It exists as a simple investment, not even as an associate. Okay. And then we analyze the financial statement carried down. Analyze the financial statement carried down. At this time, S already has a figure. Okay. So the first figure for S is on the date of acquisition, we have non-controlling interest of 84,000. Okay. Non-controlling interest of 84,000. And then we followed by the retained earning carried down of S. Retained earning carried down of S. So retained earning carried down of S from the question is 100 plus 40. 100 plus 40 equal to 140. And we have to minus the retained earning on the date of acquisition, 110. So the post-acquisition retained profit carried down of S is actually 30,000. And this 30,000 is actually the same as the amount of post-acquisition profit that we have calculated for the period of 9 months. For the period of 9 months, it is how many thousand? 30,000. And this 30,000 post-acquisition retained profit, we need to allocate to group retained earning as well as non-controlling interest. So for the group retained earning, it is how many percent? 60%. 60% times 30 equal to 18,000, and 40% times 30 is equal to 12,000. Okay, 12,000 for non-controlling interest. And the second item will be retained profit carried forward of H. Retained profit carried forward of H, we can put here the brought down plus current year, and we can also put in a simpler term, in a simpler way, 90 plus 60 equal to 150 retained profit carried down. Okay, so 90,000 retained profit brought down plus current year profit 60,000, and then plus gain on disposal of investment in simple investment. Gain on disposal of investment amounting to 13,000. So by adding that 13,000 to 150,000, total profit of H is now 163,000. Okay, 163,000. And what is the value of the retained profit at the end of the year? The value is 181,000. And the value of non-controlling interest is 96,000. Okay, 96,000. So kita akan habiskan yang ni dulu. Lepas tu kita akan ada break 5 minit insyaAllah. Ya. So kita teruskan dengan consolidated statement of profit or loss. Consolidated statement of profit or loss. So how are we going to prepare the consolidated statement of profit or loss? You can see from here, the revenue of the group is comprised of revenue of the parent, 100%, and revenue of the subsidiary for the 9 months post-acquisition period. Okay, revenue of the parent is full, revenue of the subsidiary is for 9 months only, and the same goes to expenses of the parent and expenses of the subsidiary. Expenses of the parent is full, expenses of the subsidiary is only for 9 months. Then we put here the gain on disposal of investment, 13,000. We get a profit before tax of 173, and taxation is combination of taxation of the parent full and taxation of the subsidiary is for 9 months. So profit after tax for the year is 103. Out of this 103, some portion goes to non-controlling interest and the balance goes to the parent. Okay. As usual, you calculate the amount that is accruing to the non-controlling interest. Okay. Based on the profit after tax of 9 months, profit after tax of 9 months, 30,000 times 40% equal to 12,000. So this 12,000 will be brought up here as NCI. So total profit after tax of 103 minus non-controlling interest 12, 91,000 will go to the group as group retained earning for the year. Next, go to the consolidated statement of changes in equity. Just now we have prepared the analysis of financial statement brought down and carried down. So from those analysis, we can put here the balance brought down of group retained earning of 90. Okay, and no figure for non-controlling interest. And then don't forget that we have a new acquisition of subsidiary during the year. And the non-controlling interest is amounting to 84,000. And another item to be added is profit after tax for the year that we have just calculated. For the group, it is 91,000. And for the non-controlling interest, it is 12,000. At the end of the year, the balance carried down of the group retained earning is 181 and non-controlling interest is 96. And this we can check here. The value will be the same as the value of analysis of financial statement carried down. 181 and 96 here. And lastly, for this example, okay, before we go to the next example, okay, we go to show the consolidated statement of financial position. The sundry asset is sundry asset of the parent and subsidiary. Okay, remember that we don't have to multiply with 9/12 because this is asset. Asset happen at the end of the year. The balance of asset is taken at the end of the year, not in the middle of the year. And the goodwill just now is 52,000. Okay, investment in subsidiary is eliminated. Total asset is 887. Ordinary share of the parent 500,000. Retained earning and non-controlled interest is based on analysis of financial statement. And lastly, the liabilities are liabilities of the parent and liabilities of the subsidiary. Okay, 80 plus 30 equal to 110. Okay, class. Okay, we have reached the end of the first example. Do you have any question for the first example before we move to the second example? Do you have any question? Have no question?
No, sir.
Okay, if there is no question, we will have a break of 5 minutes. And after that, we are going to continue with the next example. Okay. Okay, welcome back. Kita akan tengok soalan associate to subsidiary. Okay, for this question, you can refer to example 3 in page 594. And the situation is changes from associate to subsidiary. Okay, changes from associate to subsidiary. So here, for changes from associate in subsidiary, the question is similar. Yeah, the question given is similar. The fact of the question is slightly changed. Yeah. So the first acquisition happened on 1st January 20X2. At this time, the first acquisition is 40%. Yeah, first acquisition is 40%. Okay, on 1st January 20X2, and the consideration transferred is 67. Yeah, consideration transferred is 67. And retained earning on that date was 45,000. And the fair value of the first investment on the date of second investment is 90,000. Okay, a slight change in value from 67,000 to 90,000. After how many years? After about 4 years. 3 years or 4 years macam tu, dia naik daripada 67,000, fair value sekarang adalah 90,000. Okay. And then Ash acquired further 30%. Ordinary share in S acquired further 30%. So sekarang ni percentage dia adalah 70%. Percentage becoming 70%, and then controlling interest is 30%. Okay, what is the consideration transferred amount? It is 80,000. And on the date of second acquisition, the fair value of the retained earning is 100,000. The retained earning is 100,000. Similar to the previous example, what we have to bear in mind, what is the assumption? The assumption is we dispose the associate and purchase 70%. So there are two processes. The first one is disposal of associate, and the second one is the purchase of subsidiary. Yeah, disposal of associate dan purchase of subsidiary. Okay, let's go through the statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss together. Okay. The statement of financial position is similar to that example, the previous example, whereby the ordinary share of S is 100,000, retained profit is 100,000 brought down, and the current year is 40,000. And the fair value of investment in subsidiary is 147,000. Yeah, investment in subsidiary not at fair value, at cost actually. Sorry, at cost. Okay. The statement of profit or loss of the subsidiary is similar. Okay, revenue 150,000, expenses 90,000, profit before tax is 60,000, taxation is 20,000, and profit after tax is 40,000. Okay, and this 40,000 will not be apportioned, and because acquisition of second interest, yeah, is happening on 1st January 2005. So first acquisition is 2002, second acquisition 2005. How many years? 2002, 2003, 2004. 3 years already. Okay, 3 years. 3 years S become associate, and this year 2005 it become a subsidiary. So what we are going to do, the first working is to calculate the goodwill. Okay.
Sir,
Ya.
contoh ni dalam buku teks
Lain.
muka surat 591 bukan 594.
Ada diskaun. Okey. Saya betulkan kat sini.
Okey.
Thank you very much. Ya. Satu. Yang tadi pun tak betul lah ya. Diskaun 3 juga.
Yang tadi 594.
Bukan yang ni tadi. Yang simple to subsidiary.
Yang simple to sub tu 594 bukan 592.
59.
4.
Simple to subsidiary 594.
594.
Betul ke? Takkan 594 dulu baru 59. Memang macam tu Cuba Simple to investment tadi 594. Rasanya 5 bukan 58 lebih.
Sekejap saya cek.
Cek 58 lebih kot.
Ah, 588.
It should be earlier 588. Okay. So untuk nanti yang ni yang ni betulkan sekali dah ni ya. Yang ni surat apa ni? Example tak ada, kita betulkan dulu yang ni, lepas tu kita teruskan. Example 3 sama tadi. Kemudian yang ni pula subsidiary to subsidiary. Mungkin diskaun 3 page juga, 604 jadi 601. Cuba tengok. Is it 601?
Betul.
Okey. Kelas yang sebelumnya rasa saya dah betulkan, tapi kelas dengan senior awak lah rasa macam dah betulkan. Cuba dia sebab dia ada beberapa file, jadi mungkin buka file lain-lain. Okay, never mind. Thank you very much for the reminder. So kita pergi kepada investment in associate Okay. So investment in associate, okay, just now, okay, we have gone through the statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss. Okay. So kemudian kita akan calculate dia punya goodwill. Okay. The goodwill is the calculation of goodwill is similar to the previous example. Previous example simple to subsidiary. Okay. So how are we going to calculate the goodwill? We are going to put here the second acquisition first. Second acquisition, that is 30% just now. We put here the consideration transferred, 80,000. And for the first acquisition, we do not take the cost. However, we take the fair value of the first investment. Okay, our first investment is 40% and the fair value is 90,000. Okay, the fair value is 90,000. So, fair value 90,000 here is not the cost of 67,000. Okay, after that, we calculate the fair value of net asset acquired on the date of second acquisition, not the date of first acquisition, the date of second acquisition. Okay, the share capital is 100,000 and the retained earning is 100,000. Where do we get this 100,000 from? It is from the question, from the statement of financial position just now, whereby the retained profit brought down is 100,000 here. Because acquisition happened on 1st January 2000 X5. Okay, so after we get the amount of fair value of net asset, 200,000, we can now calculate the value of non-controlling interest, that is 30% times 200,000 equal to 60,000. We add the CT and the fair value of previous investment, 80 plus 90 plus 60. We get a fair value of investment of 230,000. We compare with fair value of net asset, 200,000. We get a goodwill of 30,000. So at this time, the goodwill is 30,000. I believe that is okay. Okay, now we are going to calculate the gain or loss on deemed disposal. The calculation is a bit lengthy as compared to the simple investment. Because simple investment, we only compare the fair value and the cost. Yeah, fair value and the cost. For the associate, when we dispose the associate, we are going to compare the fair value and the carrying amount. Yeah, the fair value and the carrying amount ataupun carrying value. CV is carrying value. So carrying value ataupun carrying amount tu samalah. Carrying value of investment in associate. So we are not comparing 90 and 67. We are comparing with 90. We compare with 67 plus share of profit. Because associate, we are using equity method. Equity method, we are going to accumulate the value of investment in associate by adding the share of profit to the original cost. So original cost is 67,000 and the share of profit. Let us calculate the share of profit. So the share of profit, retained earning before increase in shares. Retained earning before increase in shares. That is on 1st January 20x5. It is 100,000. And the retained earning on the acquisition of associate in 2000x2 is 45. So 100 minus 45 is equal to 55. 55 is post-acquisition profit for the associate. It means from 1st January 20x2 until 31st December 20x4, there are a profit of 55,000. And the share of profit from that is 40%. So we multiply with 40%. 55,000 multiply with 40% equal to 22,000. So the original value, the original cost of the investment in associate is 67,000. We add the share of profit of 22,000. It becomes 89,000. So fair value, fair value of previous investment, we are comparing with carrying value that is amounting to 89. Okay, so fair value 90, carrying value 89. Okay, the difference is 1,000. What is this 1,000? Is it a gain or loss? It is a gain. It is a gain because the fair value is greater than the carrying amount. Gain of 1,000. And this amount of gain will be taken to statement of profit or loss as an income. Okay. Okay. Next, we are going to calculate the analysis. Analysis of financial statement. Brought down and carried down. So for brought down, there is no brought down for S. There is no brought down for S because S only become a subsidiary on 1st January 20x5. Prior to that, it is an associate. Prior to this, it is an associate. Okay, so now we are going to show analysis of financial statement that is comprised of retained profit of H only. Retained profit of S belum ada lagi. Retained profit of H ada kat sini. Brought down is 90,000 from the question. And we add with the share of profit from associate in the previous year. So in the previous year, mana kita dapat 22,000 ni? This 22,000 is the same amount as what we have calculated here. Ini. Kan? Share of profit from 1st January 20x2 sampailah 31st December 20x4. This is the amount. So this amount will be added to the retained profit of H. Jadi, retained profit of H is 112,000. So disebabkan retained profit of H adalah the only retained profit that we have brought forward. So retained profit brought forward for the group is 112,000. Next, analysis of financial statement carried down. So at this time, we have already have retained profit from subsidiary. Okay, so we have here under non-controlling interest column, we have on the date of acquisition, non-controlling interest amounting to 60,000 as the per calculation in goodwill. And then we continue with the retained profit carried down of S. Retained profit carried down of S. From the question, it is 100 plus 40. 100 brought down 40,000 current year. So total is 140. And the retained profit on the date of second acquisition is 100. Retained profit on second acquisition is 100. So 140 minus 100 equal to 40. And if you remember, this 40,000 is actually the current year profit. Okay, so this current year profit will be allocated to the group as well as to the non-controlling interest based on the percentage. Based on the percentage, that is 70% for group and 30% for the non-controlling interest. So they are getting 28,000 and 12,000 respectively. What about retained profit carried down of H? Now the retained profit carried down of H is 150,000. We can simply put here 150, or we can separate them into brought down and current years, 90 and 60. And okay, because this is retained profit carried down. Retained profit carried down. So the share of profit of associate from the previous year is also taken here, included as part of the retained profit of H. Yeah, retained profit of H is after we include the retained profit, share of profit from associate for last year. Kan, sebab kita punya calculation ni adalah carried down. Carried down is referring to whatever has been accumulated from beginning. So, kita ada kat sini 22 retained profit. Ya, termasuklah di dalam dia share of profit from associate amounting to 22,000. And don't forget, we have another one that is related to associate, that is gain on disposal of associate. Okay, jadi kita kena sentiasa ingat kat sini, sebenarnya tidak ada disposal, tetapi dia adalah deemed disposal. Okay, so next we calculate the total group retained earning carried down, that is 28 plus 173 equal to 201, and non-controlling interest 60 plus 12 equal to 72. Okay, and these two figures, 201 and 72, will be the same figure in consolidated statement of changes in equity and also statement of financial position. Okay, next we go through the statement of profit or loss of the group. Okay, statement of profit or loss for the group. At this time, the revenue is full revenue for parent and full revenue for subsidiary. Why we don't have to multiply with the number of months? Because the subsidiary was acquired from 1st January. Yeah, from 1st January. That is a full year, January up to December. So revenue of the parent is full year. Revenue of subsidiary is also full year. Expenses of the parent is full year. Expenses of the subsidiary also full year. Then we have here gain or disposal of associate 1,000. And we have taxation here full year for the parent as well as for the subsidiary. We get the profit after tax of 101,000. Out of this 101,000, okay, some goes to the non-controlling interest and the balance goes to the parent. Okay, so what is the amount that will go to the non-controlling interest? You calculate here. The profit after tax for 12 months. The profit after tax for 12 months for 1 year is 40,000 multiplied with non-controlling interest percentage of 30%. So we get a share of profit of 12,000. Yeah, the non-controlling interest portion of the profit is 12,000 here. We put here 101 minus 12 equal to 89. So 89 is for the parent, 12 is for the non-controlling interest. Consolidated statement of changes in equity, I said just now, the figure must be the same as what we have calculated here in the analysis of financial statement carried down. Okay, and we start with balance brought down, group retained earning 112, we find from analysis of financial statement brought down. And then there is an acquisition during the year, 60, in the non-controlling interest column. And then we have profit after tax for the year for the group retained earning and NCI, respectively, 89,000 and 12,000. And at the end, the balance carried down. Yeah, the balance carried down is 201 for the group retained earning, and non-controlling interest is 72,000. Next is consolidated statement of financial position. The sundry asset, we add together the parent and subsidiary. Goodwill is 30,000. Investment in subsidiary is eliminated. Ordinary share of the parent, retained earning and non-controlling interest from the analysis of financial statement, and liabilities of the parent and liabilities of the subsidiary is added together to form the total liability of the group, 110,000. Okay, class. So the rest, I believe, you can understand. But okay, we go back to the calculation of goodwill. Okay, go back to the calculation of goodwill, whereby here we are putting the consideration transferred for the second acquisition, the original cost, and second, the fair value of the previous acquisition. Remember, the first acquisition, we are using the fair value, not the actual cost. Okay, so after the goodwill or bargain purchase, then we can calculate the deemed disposal. And the gain or loss on deemed disposal. For associate, we are not only comparing the fair value and the cost, but we are comparing the fair value and the carrying amount of the investment. Because associate is different from simple investment. Simple investment, we do not accumulate the share of profit. But for associate, we accumulate the share of profit. That is the only difference. Okay. So, before we can compare the fair value of investment, and the carrying amount, we need to calculate the carrying amount. And carrying amount is cost plus share of profit. Cost plus share of profit, it equals to the carrying value or carrying amount of investment in associate. So after that, we can compare the fair value of investment and the carrying value, and the result will be either a gain or loss on investment, a gain or loss on deemed disposal of investment in associate. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, I believe that you still have to refer back to this note after the class, so that you can understand what we are discussing here. Okay, and I think the last one for today is associate to subsidiary, but the acquisition of associate is in the middle of the year. Untuk yang subsidiary to subsidiary ni kita akan cover pada hari lain lah, pada hari Khamis, insyaAllah. Okay, so hari ni kita sempat buat 3 saja example. Okay, so this example is from associate to subsidiary, but the acquisition of subsidiary happen in the middle of the year. Not really middle, but during the year. 1st October is not really a middle. Middle is 1st July. 1st July. So first acquisition is 40%, second acquisition is 30%. Can refer to the date there. The first acquisition on 1st January 20X2, and the consideration transferred is 67. Retained earning on that date was 45, the same, and the fair value is 90 on 1st October X5. And the acquisition, second acquisition 30% happened on 1st October, The consideration transferred is 80. Retained earning on that date was 130. And fair value of investment is maintained at 80 because the same day. Okay, so what we have to bear in mind? According to the accounting procedure, we assume that we sell the 40% interest on 1st October to 0x5. And we purchase 70% interest on the same day. Okay, let's go through the statement of financial position. Jadi yang ni nampaknya ada sedikit perbezaan. Sama sebenarnya, masih sama lagi. Cuma fakta dia dalam ni investment in S ya. Okey. Faktanya sama semua kecuali tarikh saja. Tarikh dan amount lah ya. Okey. So, ordinary share of subsidiary is 100, retained profit brought down is 100, profit after tax for the current year is 40. Okay. So, sekarang ni pula, statement of profit or loss. The first 9 months, it is an associate. The next 3 months, it is a subsidiary. So, what is the amount of profit when S is an associate? The profit is 40,000 times 9/12. That is equal to 30,000. And when it becomes a subsidiary, the profit is only 40,000 times 3/12. That is 10,000. Okay. As what we have calculated in the previous example, now we are going to calculate the goodwill. We are going to calculate the goodwill. The goodwill is based on the consideration transferred of the second acquisition. That is 80,000. And fair value of previous investment, 40%, that is equal to 90,000. Okay. And then the fair value of net asset acquired, share capital is 100,000. Retained earning is 130,000. How do we get this 130,000? Retained profit brought down is 100,000. Yeah. And then profit for the year for 9 months. Because acquisition is happening on 1st October. So the profit from 1st January until 30th September is actually pre-acquisition profit. That's why 30,000 is added to the 100,000 to form a retained profit on the date of acquisition of 130,000. So now we know that the fair value of net asset on 1st October to 0x5 is 230,000. And we can calculate our non-controlling interest. That is 30% of that. 30% times 230,000 equal to 69,000. Then we add with the consideration transferred of the two acquisition, first acquisition and second acquisition at fair value. Sorry, first acquisition at fair value and second acquisition at cost. The amount of fair value of investment is 239,000 compared to fair value of net asset 230,000. There is a goodwill of 9,000. It's a goodwill of 9,000. Is that okay, class? Next is calculation of deemed disposal of associate. So just now the fair value of previous investment is 90,000. Okay, we are comparing with carrying value of investment in associate. So the cost just now is 67,000. And then the share of profit of associate. Retained earning on 1st January is 100. Profit after tax for 9 months is 30. And retained earning on acquisition date is 45. Therefore, the post-acquisition profit is 85,000. Multiply with 40%. We get a 34,000. Share of profit is 34,000. So 67,000 plus 34,000 equal to 101. 101. And this 101 is greater than 90,000. 101 is greater than 90,000. Is greater than 90,000. So at this time, we have a loss of 11,000 on disposal. Okay. First example tadi, gain. Second example, gain. Third example, loss of 11,000. Is it okay to have a loss of 11,000? No problem. In business, gain or loss is a normal situation, right? Okay. So next is analysis of financial statement. Basically, the analysis of financial statement is similar, okay, whereby we don't have subsidiary at the beginning of the year. There is no balance brought down of subsidiary during the year. But we still have the balance brought down for the parent, H, yeah. H is the parent. The profit brought down is 90,000. And we have to add the share of profit from last year. Share of profit of last year is 22,000. Okay, 22,000 ni pun kita dah calculate dalam example yang lepas tadi. Okay, how do we get the 22,000? That is 100,000 minus 45,000. Profit on 1st January 2005 is 100,000. And profit on the date of acquisition is 45,000. So 55,000 times 40% equal to 22,000. Since there is no other values to be added, the group retained earning brought down is 112,000. We go further to analysis of financial statement carried down. At this time, we have non-controlling interest already, 69,000. Okay. And then we have already profit for the subsidiary. Retained profit carried down from the question is 140. That is 100 plus 40. And on the date of acquisition is 130. So there is only a difference of 10,000. And this 10,000 is actually the profit for the 3 months, starting from 1st October until 31st December. From this 10,000, we are going to allocate to group retained earning 70% and non-controlling interest 30%. So they are getting 7,000 and 3,000 respectively. Okay, now we come to retained profit carried down of H. So retained profit carried down of H is 150,000, comprised of brought down 90,000 and profit for the year 60,000. And don't forget, we have share of profit last year, 22,000. And we have also share of profit for 9 months this year. Share of profit of 9 months for this year, 12,000. 12,000 ni mana dapat? 12,000 ni adalah current year. Current year profit of associate. So profit of associate for the current year is how much? 40,000 kali dengan 9/12. 40,000 kali dengan 9/12. Lepas tu kita kena kali dengan berapa peratus? Sekejap ya. $40,000 kali 9/12 adalah 30,000 kan? 30,000 ni seperti di bawah ni lah. 30,000 kali dengan 40%, kita dapatlah 12,000. And don't forget about loss on disposal of associate amounting to 11,000. So this lead to the total. Total retained profit carried down of H of 173. Sekarang kita boleh totalkan. Okay, group retained profit 180. NCI is 72. Next. consolidated statement of profit or loss. So consolidated statement of profit or loss, again kembali revenue of the parent is full, revenue of the subsidiary is only 3 months. I hope you are not confused about this, ya. Jadi kita tak confuse untuk nak ambil setahun ke, 9 bulan ke, 3 bulan ke. Kita tengok starting from the date it becoming a subsidiary. So if the starting date is 1st April, then it is 9 months. If the starting date is 1st October, then it is only 3 months. Okay, expenses also the same. Full year for the parent and 3 months for the subsidiary. Okay, we add the share of profit from associate for the current year 12,000 and loss on disposal of associate. Loss on disposal of associate 11,000. Okay, so taxation also for 3 months 55 for the parent plus 20 times 3/12 for the subsidiary. So profit after tax at this time is only 71. Kalau kita tengok example 1 tu 100 lebih, example 2 100 lebih. Kemudian example yang ni kita ada 71 saja. No problem. So out of 71,000, 3,000 is for the non-control interest. How do we get this 3,000? 3,000 is based on profit after tax for the 3 months, 10,000 times 30% equal to 3,000. And the balance 68 is belonging to the parent. Next, consolidated statement of changes in equity. Brought down just now is parent only 112. Dan control interest there is no brought down, but there is acquisition during the year. NCI is 69. And about the profit after tax for the year, the group retained earning share 68,000 out of 71,000 and non-controlling interest 3,000 only out of 71,000. So at the end of the year, the balance carried down is 180 for GRE and 72 for the non-controlling interest, and the figure is exactly the same as the calculation of analysis of financial statement here. And lastly, for this class today, okay, consolidated statement of financial position, sundry asset. We include the sundry asset of the parent plus subsidiary. The goodwill just now we have calculated 9,000 only. Investment in subsidiary has already been eliminated. Ordinary shares of the parent only. Retained earning and non-control interest is the same as analysis of financial statement and statement of changes in equity. And lastly, the liabilities of the group comprise of liability of the parent and liability of the subsidiary. Okay, for the next example, insyaAllah we are going to cover in next class on Thursday. Okay, class, are you following so far up to the end of the class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ya. Okay, so kita tengok dekat sini goodwill tadi. Kita ulang balik macam mana calculate goodwill. Goodwill must be, okay, there are two components of investment. Kena ingat two components of investment. The first component is consideration transferred of the second acquisition. Kita campur dengan fair value of first acquisition. Kita campur dengan non-controlling interest. And then we compare the fair value of net asset acquired. This one is on the date of second acquisition, not the first acquisition. Okay. And then computation of gain on disposal of previous investment. Okay. So for associate, we have to remember associate is having a carrying amount ataupun carrying value. So carrying amount is different from cost. Yeah. For simple investment, we compare the fair value and the cost. For associate, we compare the fair value and carrying value of the investment. Okay, so saya rasa itu sajalah kelas kita pada hari ini. Jadi kalau ada apa-apa soalan lagi, bolehlah tanya sekarang ataupun boleh juga tanya nanti-nanti. Jadi saya akhirilah kelas saya pada hari ni. Kalau ada soalan boleh, satu ataupun dua soalan. Ada seminit dua lagi. Anything? Okay, so kalau tak ada, bila-bila saja awak boleh tanya. In fact adalah beberapa student yang bertanya kepada saya melalui WhatsApp lah. Jadi saya akan entertain insyaAllah. Kalau tak sempat pun lambat sikit. Tapi saya akan entertain lah semua soalan. Okay, so kita sudahi kelas kita pada pagi ini dengan surah Wal-As. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal asri innal insana lafi khusr illa allazina amanu wa amilus solihat wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.